Why are you walking down Main Street with no damn clothes on?
Sir, you say that like it's a bad thing. The Lord made these clothes I wear.
All right, enough of this. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Stop resisting, or you catch another charge.
Tag, officer, you're it. Tag, Marco Polo.
Oh, you're going to the ground. Do you want to get tased?
Oh, I bet I blow a 666 again, officer.
Nope, not this time. You got a 667. That's a 666 with my extra long thumb checking your oil.
What's up, everybody? There you go. The best intros in the business. I don't care what anybody says. I challenge anybody to outdo those intros. I got more coming. And I got my good friend here, Juan Molina from Blessed with Pain. What's going on, Juan? How you doing?
And good to see you. Glad to be on air with you.
Yeah, and your head is a little shinier than mine only because I got this hat on. Murder Metal Mayhem hat. I'm kind of pimping out the gear here because we opened up this store and it's really amazing. But you can get these hats in like trucker style, or they call this the dad hat.
If I do that, if I wanted let's say a green hat, can you mix colors and shirts and stuff?
You can do different sizes, different colors. They've got like the whole palette of colors for the shirt. And then you have certain design things. You could have a crew neck or a regular, girls size shirts or men's size shirts. They got kids. You got even baby stuff on there. I mean, you could just go crazy with some Murder Metal Mayhem.
That's cool.
I mean, Grandma would love, the big barbed wire circle with blood spatter, Murder Metal Mayhem. Definitely.
My mom would.
Yeah, hell yeah. But good to have everybody here. I've got my I need my 666 fix shirt on, and we got the totes and everything. So really happy with the gear, and already getting pictures in from people that have had, they've already got their merch and the t-shirts and stuff. So love that. So if you bought something and you want to send in your picture, email it to me, and I'd love to put it up and let people see it. So very cool. Basic, rules of the lives. I always mention this. We're doing the serial killer story hour here. Episode 4 on Taylor Schbusiness. This is going to be, one we have not gotten to yet on the podcast. So I know the other couple we had done before, and I gave you some other episode number you can go check out. This one we did not do, but Juan, you wanted to do this one on the podcast. And I know the answer to this already, but maybe the crowd doesn't know you very well. But why would you have wanted to see or wanted to participate in the discussion about this chick?
Because she's probably one of the most crazy stories. I mean, from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Not only what she did was horrific, but her actions afterwards were just out of control, and every time I turned the TV on during this time, she was doing something stupid again, and it was just cracking me up. And then the name, it just,
I know, dude,
it's ridiculous.
And we're going to explain. So you guys watching, you're going to get some education. And I see we got a lot of people here. I did want to point out just some of the usuals. Pitbull Mama, she said she's got a new mug, Murder Metal Mayhem mug, and some stickers and magnets, and she's going crazy. Donna Lembo, our moderator, she is in a a Mayhem Squad shirt, which is friggin' awesome. She sent me a picture of that, and Got Delta Firefly here. She's working, so that's good. I wonder who else is listening. This is quite the episode to have people listening in on. Here's my mom in there. Very good, mom. And Voice of Astrology, got Karis there. And just great. Isles of Shoals. A lot of familiar faces here, which is always nice. And Misleading Evidence and Words Bloom. So thank you guys very much for joining us here tonight and doing this serial killer story hour. And I did want to point out, before somebody in the comments tries to get me one, because on YouTube people love to give you a little zinger, but I know that Taylor Schbusiness is not a serial killer. Okay, she's just so damn brutal that she deserves to be talked about in this serial killer story hour. Another one that comes to mind, Juan, and I know you know this story, going overseas to old Catherine Knight in
Oh
Australia.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just as
That
brutal.
chick.
Yeah.
Those two would be a good fight, I think.
Oh yeah.
Catherine Knight and Taylor Schbusiness.
One of the interesting things that I read was one of the psychologists that after she was sentenced and they were talking with her, and then she was talking about how the interaction went, and she basically said, this was the first of many. Had she not been caught,
right,
that it was that this is where it starts. This is how it starts.
Wow.
So
that's
luckily she got caught.
Yeah, for sure. So again, guys, this is going to be a darker episode. The way I deal with dark, really heavy stuff is I make jokes. I know that that's not what everybody likes, but that's how I am. So if you don't like a little dark humor as we go, I mean, this chick is crazy, and that's obviously not something to laugh about. But when you're dealing with something as horrific as this, I think, laughter is not such a bad way to deal with it. So we're going to get through it, but if it's not your thing, bow out now. No hard feelings, all right? But like, comment, and subscribe if you're going to stick around, and definitely want to see this video get out there to more people, because I bet, there are people that know about her, but a lot that don't. I've gotten quite a few people emailing me saying I didn't know anything about her before, which I was surprised because it was in the news, but, I pay attention to that stuff. But thanks to the mods, Donna Lembo out there, and I'm not sure if Catherine's back from her vacation yet. Thanks to the members, Horns High Club and the Mayhem Squad. You guys are fantastic. And I mentioned the merch page. I'll flash a URL up later, and I link to it in the description if you want to go over there and check it out. But the way these work, a little different format from usual on this show, is we do the presentation of the feature, which is in this case Taylor Schbusiness, and with limited chat involvement to avoid it kind of dragging out. And then we open it up to discussion with questions and answers. It's just with a lot of places and dates. To me, it gets confusing if you keep stopping and starting. So I just prefer to just get through it. We got a lot to cover with this one. I actually found more than I thought I would, which was good. I really spent a lot of time working on this one. Wanted to get some good information and not just like the Wikipedia page, which I hate when podcasters do that kind of stuff. But yeah, these go, we shoot for an hour or less, we'll just kind of see how it goes. But so here we go. She was born September 23rd, 1997 in Chicago. Her real name is Taylor Denise Coronado. And I'm hoping that's not Italian one, because I always hate when Italians get dragged into these awful stories, But
you know what? I saw her dad on the stand, and he looked like he was Hispanic.
So. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. It's either one or the other.
Right.
I saw that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
She moved to Wisconsin when she was in fourth grade. We know there's plenty of psychos up there in Wisconsin with Dahmer and Geen, and oh yeah, some good stuff up there. And she was getting into trouble though at an early age and fighting with classmates, and one that's seems like a chick that maybe the guys in Blessed with Pain might have been hanging around with back in the day.
It sounds like most of the girls that hung out after the shows at most of the shows.
Right. Right. Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing. Our very first Low 12 show was with you
Yep,
in February of 1998, dude. That's crazy.
that
Or
is.
99. 99, because we started in 98, right at the end of 98, and our first show was with you that February. It might have been February 6th of 99.
It was cold. I remember it was
It
cold.
was very cold. Yeah, well, near close to my birthday, and it's always friggin' cold on my
Yeah,
birthday.
that was a great time, man. I still remember that show. It was a lot.
Dude, that was the best, man. And so we've known each other for almost 30 years. It's really
You
wild,
know,
and it's
I was
fun to go
I
ahead.
was looking through some stuff, just the different years of magazines that we were in, and things talked about. And I want to say we played somewhere between 30 and 40 shows together. All
I
over.
wouldn't doubt it, man.
Yeah,
We were always together,
yeah,
man. Always. And fittingly so. We fit together very well.
absolutely.
So, this is just, going to lead to bad things, Juan. I mean, we hear this, she's getting expelled. We've heard this before with these kind of, serial killers or killers in general, acting out at young ages, man.
Yeah, it didn't seem like she had a great childhood. Her mom died when she was pretty young, and
Right.
her dad wasn't the greatest in the world, and it just seemed like what I can tell is she just migrated towards the bad. There wasn't
Right.
a lot of good, and I
Right.
guess if bad is home life, then that's what you search out. When you're on the streets or doing whatever. But it didn't give her a really good mental road to follow. If that's
No, that's true, man. I mean, it's really sad. It really is, because I enjoyed a normal middle class upbringing, in a good environment with both my parents and a sister, and I was lucky, But there's people like this that were not lucky, but it's a terrible situation. Um, but her mother actually dies when Taylor's only 9, and it's because of the alcoholism. And then they move again, this time down to grandma's house in Texas, so she can relocate and finish up school. But she's definitely on the path, of the bad way of going to jail and eventually prison and death. I mean,
right.
these stories don't typically end in a nice way, right? I mean, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, and reading into it, when she went down, she did graduate when she went down to Texas, and then it seemed like she was okay for a year and a half once she got graduated, and then that's when she moved back, and it seemed like to all just kick off once again once she got back to Wisconsin.
yeah, because I mean, the kids from alcoholic parents, they end up abusing alcohol themselves, or party favors, as we say here on YouTube, but you guys get my drift, when they hit their teens. And, what do you think that's going to do to a teenager, Juan? I mean, at a vulnerable age, when they're dealing with parents like this. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, when you don't really have a safe haven to go to, you're left up to whatever your thoughts are.
right,
And if you've never been raised in a solid household or don't have that solid person to go to, you're going to go to your friends that maybe are not
right,
the best, at decision making, and
right.
that's really how a lot of people fall through the cracks is they don't have any type of a net to catch them for it, and they're kind of left to their own devices. With mom gone, her brother passed away too. He died in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
And then the father, he ends up getting convicted for assaulting a minor in a what sort of way.
yeah.
And so he's not winning Father of the Year either over there. So
He
this
got
poor
convicted.
girl,
He got convicted twice of it.
wow,
Yeah,
wow,
and so it's really kind of a setup for failure because it just didn't see. I didn't read one thing where there was someone positive in her life except her brother. That they were close. I don't even know if he was positive, but they were close.
what about the grandmother?
The grandma. Well, I didn't read much other than she went down there and lived with them, and then
Right.
ultimately when she got her kid taken away, the kid ended up going to Texas and living with the grandparents. So
Oh, okay.
hopefully that they were stable enough, but that doesn't always mean that you can fall back on them. It's just getting you out of one environment into another. And
Yeah.
typically when that happens, yeah, the your decision making is a little different, but you got grandparents, you don't know how old they are, how much of an eye they can keep on you. It's just
Dude, I know just from being older now, and thinking about when I had kids in my 20s, there's no damn way I could deal with it now. I mean,
right.
that's no way. I don't know how you do it. You got a few different, spread out in
Yeah,
age, but I'm glad that that's over. But yeah, that really tears or wears you out when
yeah,
you're not used to the kids, especially like toddlers are the ones crawling around. Those are the ones they're really nerve wracking
yep.
for me because I'm worried
Gonna
something's
get
going to
hurt.
happen on
Yeah,
my watch.
yep,
But she's coming from a messed up home. But not everyone that goes through something like this one is going to end up like Taylor did. That's what's weird. How do the cards go with this? Like if she would have been, you know, raised by even an inkling of a parent, maybe she could have got through this. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy,
yeah,
but I'm not sure. I guess she may have just been destined for this, but
yeah.
you know,
I really just think it's who you surround yourself with, and if you don't have those good, even moderate people around to say stop it,
right,
and
right.
if you're just on, if you're on 1,000 miles an hour and with nothing to stop you, then you're not going to stop.
That's true, man. And here's she's got a dad goes to prison. He's the one that's supposed to provide, but he's not doing that. Her mom's already gone. So she needs the support more than ever. And, there would be several attempts she would make on her own life multiple times when she was in Texas. And the most recent attempts were April and May of 2021. But Juan, she's making some bad decisions. And what is she using to self medicate herself with, unfortunately?
Well, it seemed that she started with marijuana, moved to meth and alcohol, but
Right.
that meth was kind of her go-to.
Yeah, which is sad because boy, that just tears people up.
Well, and she got there when that was introduced to her by her husband, the guy that she had the kid with,
Right.
who's in jail for you know, drug
Exactly.
use, and
Yeah,
so it's just this
I
girl,
know.
you know,
It's one bad decision after another, dude. So the victim of the story here is this 24-year-old man, Shad Thyrion. I think that's how you say
yep,
it. She's met him in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and in school right before she left for Texas, and she ends up moving away, forgets about poor old Shad, and gets married and has a baby, as Juan mentioned, with a guy named Warren. And we'll leave it there for just a moment. You're gonna love this, okay? But he's also a real winner, as you said, Juan. He's going to jail after the baby's born, I believe, or maybe before. I don't even know, but she's got no help from him. He's useless. She's back at it again, dealing with this stuff on her own. But it's her last name that, anybody that's heard this case before, me included, watching this maybe while we're talking about this, wondering how the hell did they get that last name and is it real? So I'm going to turn it over to you, Juan. I looked it up. I think this is legit. So you want to inform the listeners how this name came about?
yeah. So the guy she married was named Warren Chabot, and after they were together for a while, I don't know how they got the business last part of it, but they used his first part of his name, SCH, and then business. And so they came up with Schbusiness.
Well,
So,
they just thought it was funny. There was
no,
there was no reason for it whatsoever. You you can't even say, Juan, that it was like a small business or something that they were
right,
going to go, or a husband and wife type business. It's nothing like that. It's just a funny word, I guess. I
right.
don't know.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I
this
mean, if
is
that's
why
what they were
drugs
going
are
for,
bad.
they made it. If that's what they were going for. But yeah, just yeah,
Drugs are bad.
yeah,
Drugs are bad,
no
right?
kidding.
So, man. But she decides to legally change it, but he does not. He keeps his name Chabot,
Right.
and she has the business. So It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, but it is funny when I hear it. I still laugh about it. Obviously, I'm laughing now. The trial was almost funny because her lawyer, the prosecutor, the judge, anybody referring to her was Miss Schbusiness.
Right.
And my wife and I are sitting there watching it. We're just like, like Beavis and Butthead laughing at stuff. But it was just really hard not to laugh. It just I don't know what it is.
Well,
And
she's ridiculous too. That's the other part of it.
yeah. What does she look like, Juan?
Oh, I mean, she's dark hair, kind of pale. I mean, she's not unattractive, but you never really saw her. I think I saw one picture of her when she was younger, and she was attractive, but she kind of plain looking actually. But her antics were what made this. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
her
she looks like really creepy and she stares at you
yeah
and
in the
she laughs at like inappropriate times. It's very strange.
yeah. Well, like I
And you
said,
don't know if it was an act or if it was real. I don't know.
well, like I said earlier, when they were one of the psychiatrists was talking about her once they had a chance to talk to her after all this, after she was convicted of everything. They said, she specifically said she laughs at the wrong times. She
Right.
smiles, she giggles, and it's not an act. She's a psychopath, and that's exactly what she said. She goes, "That is what this lady is."
Wow.
So
Yeah, she definitely freaks me out when I've seen her because it's the eyes thing. That's what most people say about her is her eyes. I'm going to share this with the viewers here for a second. Give me 1 second. I don't do this stuff all the time. Okay, here we go. I'll share the screen with you. So in case you don't know what this chick looks like, here we got like this kind of staring down thing going on. But like Juan said, sometimes she's just kind of plain looking, but then she's got just all these different looks and ways she stares. And like I said, the inappropriate laughing. And then here she is with the spit mask because she was spitting. I mean, she's feisty to be nice about it. She's definitely crazy. And then Juan, what about the fighting or the attacking?
yeah, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember why she attacked that first attorney, but she jumped up and tried to elbow him in the head, and then she was taken down pretty quick.
Right.
But it did take quite a few of them to get her restrained. Now, after that
Yeah.
happened, she got another attorney,
Right.
and she did the same thing. And in an interview that I was listening to her, they were asking her, why she did these things. And the first guy, I think she said she didn't like, but the second guy, she said, that guy was my dad's old attorney. He told me not to work with him. So that's why I attacked him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they had those like
advice,
those dudes that look like they could have played for the friggin' Bears.
Yeah.
Those sheriff deputies were like ready to hit her that second
Oh,
time.
yeah.
I mean, he's probably overkill because, man, that had to have really hurt face planted on the concrete
Yeah.
with some linebacker pounding you into the ground. So,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty wicked. But, what she did was downright awful. So yeah, then the lawyer attacking him. I mean, it was just like he just kind of scooted out of the way and they took her
Yeah.
down quick. So they didn't let it go too far, that's for sure.
And then number 3, I couldn't tell if she was winking at the camera or winking at her attorney.
Right.
But when they were talking, it was a very sweet talking to each other.
Yes.
So,
It was very weird. It was very
weird.
weird. So she's back in Green Bay. She gets back with Shad, and not a good thing for him, that's for sure. They would bounce around from couch to couch. Lived in the basement of his mother's home for a while, and then Juan on February 21st, 2022 in Green Bay. You said it's going to be cold up there, that's for sure. But what ends up happening in the basement of his mother's home?
Well, they were just smoking meth for hours, from what I can tell.
Right.
And when they got down into the basement, when they ask, "Hey, what's going on? What happened?" and she starts telling the story, She said, I saw a chain in the corner. I put it around Shad's neck, and I started riding him like a donkey, is what she said. And basically from there, she said, I just kept pulling harder. He was foaming at the mouth and was turning purple, but I would not let go. Right. And I heard something, what she was doing after they figured out what exactly happened. It's called burking. Right. So if you're trying to strangle someone and then also compressing the chest or the back, so it compresses the chest, like she was riding him, that's called burking. And so it
heard of that before.
Yeah, exactly. So she ends up, and it's not a chain, because I saw pictures of it. It's a dog choke collar. So it's not like a log chain. It's, if he tries to get away, that thing tightens up just like it would on a dog. And that's what she used to actually, kill him.
Wow.
So,
brutal, man. That's very, very brutal. That's for sure.
That was probably the nicest thing that happened down in that basement.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, you guys know, with it being YouTube, we're kind of limited on what we could tell you. But if you want to read more about this or look at, documentaries or what have you, there's quite a bit out there on her. But, we're just making you aware of it. But there's some really sick stuff that she did. Because, even after he was dead, she was still having sex with him. And it was just like disturbing beyond compare.
No, she told the cops that she played with them for 2 or 3 hours, that she cuddled with the body while they were down there. She was performing a specific act while she was cutting his head off. And so it was just this, I can't imagine even being down there and seeing any of this. But she says when she's getting interviewed by the cops, how much she enjoyed all of it. Like every time she would get into a very specific point of let's say when choking, right, and she starts talking about it, she gets very excited and very happy to talk about it. And it's just one of the strangest things I've ever seen. It just seems like she's still out of her mind. It's just insane. And then, but she had enough wherewithal to, when she was trying to decapitate, to put a bucket under it so she could catch the blood and then take it into the shower and dump it so it wouldn't make a mess.
Make less of a mess, yeah.
Yeah, and so how much of this, if you're losing your mind, you're not thinking about that. But she did that a lot. I mean, listening to one of the guys that talked about the parts that they found, about how she defleshed some of it completely, is just crazy. And I don't know, did you hear when they asked about how she did it? She said, I used knives. And she said, I used 4 knives. They were from upstairs from the butcher block. And she goes, but they were mostly garbage because they weren't sharp. But the bread knife worked really well. That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah, I do remember the bread knife. That's so disgusting.
Yes. What a lunatic.
Man, that is just absolutely awful. I mean, my gosh. And then she's taking the organs and putting them in Ziploc bags, and she's putting some in boxes, and then some she's putting in these totes, and then it's just like this. You could hear the crazy music playing and watching her do this, that kind of thing. Just, that'd be like the most horrific thing to see something like this. But she does this, and then she puts some in her car. She takes some to go in, of all things, a crock pot box. So that's kind of like the visuals, kind of like, oh no, did she go home and make a crock pot? No, it was just the box. But
she said, and then she put his head in the genitalia,
right?
And they first thought that they did it so when the mom came downstairs, that what they saw. That's what she thought. But in the interview, she says, I just got lazy. I really like those parts, and I wanted to take them with me, but I just got lazy and didn't want to take them. Didn't want to carry them up the stairs.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hadn't heard that.
And then during the interview, when they're talking to her about it, they ask, where's the rest of the body? Well, it's in the house. And well, where at? and then she giggles at some point and says, "Well, you guys," she said, "Good luck finding them all," because apparently she had spread them out all over the house, plus what she had in the van.
Oh my gosh, this is
But
just
she's
really
smiling and laughing at it. It's like
right. It's
it's like
creepy,
something you would see in some weird horror movie,
right?
And it's just amazing that it's real, you know.
Exactly. It seems like something straight out of a horror movie, you
Yeah,
know.
the
So that's why again drugs are bad. If you're listening to this, but yeah, she said it would take 3 to 5 minutes to strangle him. That's a long time. It's not like in the movies where it just takes 10 seconds. It's a physical feat and just craziness.
So I don't
But
know. Did you see the clip of her when she left the house? The cops knew because she was in that guy's van, and so they tracked down the van and they went and saw her when she had that big cut on her thumb. She still
right,
had blood on her.
right,
If you notice, that is the only time she speaks without a tinge of "I'm a 419 Crip," right? Like she actually speaks very, very well. And then the other time, it's like she grew up in the
street
ghetto.
language. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just it's really weird that her
that is
different
weird.
faces, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, BTK called it cubing. I know when I interviewed Dr. Catherine Ramsland, she said, that's a thing that he said was how he visualized it as each one of his people were in a different side of the cube. And so
Oh,
whatever, if he was dad, then that was the dad side of the cube. And when he was out there doing his thing, it was BTK. Kind of creepy, but I mean, their minds work in a very, very strange way, and some of them very, very measured like that. I mean, it's creepy.
yeah,
You think, what good could you do if you used what you knew for good things,
right.
instead of evil, crazy stuff like this? I mean,
Yeah.
just absolutely nuts. And it looks like everybody in the audience here in the chat is like, oh my god, with this chick, she's over the top. So, you know, um, but I'm seeing a lot of death metal worthy lyrics in what we've read about with this one. A lot of death metal names. I know we talk about that on the podcast. Is sometimes talking about a case and something comes up. It sounds like a cool metal band name.
This sound when I started first watching this whole case, I was like, "This is a Cannibal Corpse song. This is a
Oh
Cannibal
yeah,
video." It just sounded,
right.
that
It
whole
sounds
storyline.
just like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
definitely. So she tries to clean up, but she ends up getting caught. And 2 days later, though, Shad's mom would find the head in the bucket, and that had to be just absolutely brutal, and just horrible. And all the other body parts, the torso and the tote with part of a leg, and I mentioned some of the other parts were in her minivan. March 1st, the cops catch up with Taylor. She's not visible, as you mentioned, scratches on the arms. And
well, hold on, Pete. One of the weirdest things that I saw on the with the body, she
yeah,
took so she basically pulled all his organs out and put them in bags. But for some
right.
reason, she took his left foot, cut it off at the ankle, and they found it in his left chest where she had taken all the organs out.
What the hell?
Yeah, just
That's weird.
oh
My gosh,
yeah.
that's creepy. So yeah, March 1st, she's actually arrested. And before that, she had just gotten out for doing 3 months for fleeing and eluding, for removing the GPS tracker from her ankle. So, she's definitely going to be put in jail for all this. And you can watch it on the body cam, as we mentioned. But, as we mentioned earlier, Juan, she's acting out in a court, as well as the stuff we've been talking about. And she's evaluated and told the psychologist that she had a thing with Jeffrey Dahmer. What was that about? Do you know? Did you heard that?
Yeah, so I guess some of her friends, the way she was acting, said something to the effect of, you seem like somebody that would Jeffrey Dahmer. And so she started to like play that part. And there's a picture
Wow.
of her laying in bed with a big old smile on her face, and on the phone there's a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh,
It
wow.
said something about boyfriend or something like that. But this brings up probably one of the funniest things that I've never heard of in the trial, because they did computer. She did computer searches on some things, but Jeffrey Dahmer was part of it, and I'd never heard some of these references to Dahmer. So she was looking up. So her search history was fatal rituals, flaming pentagrams. Then it was Jeffrey Dahmer walking in court, and then sexy was the part of the search. And then Jeffrey Dahmer's butt. And the one that I started cracking up is there she searched for Jeff Boy RD.
Oh, wow.
That's just what a lunatic,
Oh, man.
I'm going to
That
search
is
that because I don't know
crazy.
what that pulls up, but that's it's insane. That magazine that I gave you, the Jeffrey Dahmer comic.
Yeah.
So I was over at Hart Fitcher's house. He was the one that did that, and it was my buddy's birthday, and he had a shirt that said Jeffrey Dahmer, Milwaukee's Beast on it, and they used the Milwaukee's Best logo, and it
Oh, wow.
just took me back to that. But yeah, just crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild how all these tie together in some
Yeah,
way. But yeah, she mentions Dahmer. Of course, Dahmer was already in prison, so the whole thing was a bunch of nonsense. But she ends up getting life without parole, which is just as well. Serving her time at the Taichida Correctional Institution there in Wisconsin. But blood,
yeah. And she caught
she
another
needs to be
charge.
somewhere like that.
Yeah, she caught another charge there when she was
Really?
because she was in a special unit for psychotic people, and
Right?
a guard and a nurse were trying to give her some meds, and she attacked them. So she had to she had another court date
Oh,
that she
wow.
had to go to after these two. And I remember watching her part of the interview, and the psychologist says, "What would you like to be doing if you weren't here? What would you be doing?" And she says, "I'd really rather just be on the street selling my
Oh,
personal taco."
wow.
Uh, and that's really what I think I want to be doing. I was like,
Oh, my
whoa.
God.
Not even, I want to repent. I want to,
Yeah.
be good for the nation. She just wants to be out there doing, that.
Yeah, she's still going hard, man. She doesn't
Yeah.
care. Wow. That's crazy. Anything we missed, Juan? Any business we missed here tonight?
Um, I
I
think
mean,
we
I
got
know we're
most
kind
of
of
it.
limited to what we could say here,
Yeah, I
but
know it's tough. I got a lot of black
especially
marks
with
here that
this
I can't.
one. This is a
Yeah.
challenge.
But what I will say is, I did want to bring Shad up a little bit. The guy that she killed, he
Yeah.
was a young guy. He messed around with drugs, especially when she was around. But from what I understand, he would always make time for his sister. He had a little sister. They used to crochet a lot together, and he was a family guy, And he's the wrong one is gone, is what I'll say out of those two, because he
Wow.
seemed to maybe start getting his life back together and cared about family. And I think he had a much better upbringing than what she did, and she just kind of got a hold of him. But it's too bad because he seemed to be a really good guy. And I did see a picture
Wow.
of him. Apparently, he was a bass player because one of the pictures he's
Oh,
got
nice.
slung over his back. So, yeah.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I could not find a whole bunch about him other than those few items. So.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, this is and it's an interesting one, but there's not a ton of info like on some of these. Maybe it just takes longer for it to, end up in the Wikipedia, Murderpedia stuff, where people can read up on her. But yeah, that's that. Anybody want to discuss anything related to this or any other true crime? We're 39 minutes, so we're still 20 minutes away from wanting to wrap it up. But if you guys have any questions or want to discuss that, I mean, had anybody not heard about her and then learned about it here tonight with us? Words Bloom says she's like a rabid animal. I would agree with that. What do you think, Juan?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what else you can say to someone that can do that to
Yeah.
anyone. and then days later laugh about it.
Right.
That's,
Right.
that's not drug induced after days.
Yeah. Pitbull Mama says, I would think so. She can't be trusted. Yeah. I mean, there's no way she'd fly off the handle for anything. I'm sure Juan would agree. Not going to trust her, right?
Absolutely not. Yeah. Not someone you want to have over for a sleepover.
Exactly. Exactly. Here's a good one from Karis, a voice of astrology. She's asking, many kids have horrible childhood. What's the missing element? It's a great question. I mean, I've asked this question of Harold Schechter. I've asked it of Catherine Ramsland, Peter Vronsky. I mean, these are like leading people in that line of work, and there's really no clear, definitive answer for it. Because you got a guy like BTK, to use BTK as an example, who comes from a very normal home, normal upbringing, nothing out of the ordinary with him. But then you look at a Richard Ramirez, right? And he's just like awful, situation. And why does one act out and one doesn't? Or, I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with, what's in there, what genes you've got, and what's your family's history like, and you're a product of that, and then you got your environment, right? If you're like, I was born in the Bronx, but thankfully my mom got us out of there and convinced my dad to move and got us the hell out of there. But that could have been a totally different childhood I could have had. So I don't know. What do you think about that idea, Juan?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the upbringing and who your support system is, but there's so many people that have had great support systems and still end up doing some of this stuff.
Right.
And so that really makes me think that it's more of a DNA thing. Genetics has something to do with it. And I know they've done, brain slices and, to try to figure out certain things. And I kind of feel at some point soon they're going to come up and say, look, this guy is a little more apt to be one because of this particular mutation. But there is no answer for it. And that's what makes it so scary because
Right.
this is someone that you could meet on the street and they could be perfectly normal.
Yeah. We talk about that all the time. You got
he was the nicest guy in the world. He was an attorney and, great conversationalist, but, give him a baseball bat and some sorority girls and, life
Right.
changes, so it's
exactly. Yeah. These guys, the wolf in sheep's clothing is a frightening idea. I mean, Gacy, you mentioned Bundy. I mean, any of these guys, I mean, for the most part, were very cordial, could be very cordial, and then be just absolutely a horror show
right
on the inside. I mean, just really crazy. So, I mean, I don't know, Karis. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I think it does have there's something missing. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Let's see here. Words bloom. Here we go. Someone should check her scalp for the number 666. Nice. Words bloom. I'm not sure where you're from. You got to tell me. I think you're from Canada, right? Are you the one? I know there's one. My memory's not the best, but I want to send you one of these new Murder Metal Mayhem stickers. I just got them today. They're so wicked with the barbed wire on there. But I want to send you one of these, Words Bloom. So you email me your address, Toronto. I'll pay the postage. I don't care. Send me your address, Pete at murdermetalmayhem.com, and I'll send you one of these because that was good. I didn't think of that, but that would have been a good thing for the thumbnail, maybe as a close up of her scalp. But we have small groups that come to these. You bet, Words Bloom. We have a whole bunch of people that come here from all walks of life, and we like to have a little bit of fun here. I'm trying to find where this comment is so I can take it off the screen, but I got Donna Lembo there. All right, I'll have to keep Donna up there for a second. But yeah, so there we go. Need to hire or get her a 666 fix shirt. I'm not sure because I've told this story one other time, but I'll tell it again. Is back when I was in my band, we used to have a newsletter that I wrote called the Low Times. You remember those, Juan?
Oh yeah,
And I used to mail one to what's his name? No,
Kevorkian.
who was it?
Kevorkian.
Kevorkian. Thank you. I used to send one to Kevorkian because I had his address and his inmate number. And I kept mailing these to Kevorkian because we used to have a song called Begging to Die, which was about him. And anyway, this went on for a couple of years. And then finally, one day, I got an envelope in the mail with the prison like letterhead on like a return address and my name written on it. I was like, that's weird. And then I opened it and it just said, "Stop sending your newsletter." That's all it said. And I'm assuming it was from Kevorkian. I don't know, but I thought, man, that's pretty bad. A guy on like death row, you think he'd be be happy to read anything, and I'm sending this every month. I'm sending him this, and then finally, a couple of years later, he's just like, "Stop it! You're an idiot."
I'd be scared to do any of that stuff now. You'd be put on some kind of watch list if you
Oh, I
started
know, dude.
communicating with them.
Yeah, I never really was. That was not really my thing. I did reach out to Matheny, or actually, I had it on my like to do list that next week, the week after he died. I remember hearing, getting it on my news feed that Joe Matheny had died in prison, and I was like, oh man, I was going to get a hold of him because he's the reason why we started Murder Metal Mayhem. So I thought that would have been interesting to interview him, but
For sure.
yeah, he's a good one to do in this story hour for sure. So Ed Gein, somebody's asking Jethro Tull saying Ed Gein. I mean, I have no problem doing Ed Gein. I know that one of the things that people had expressed in the beginning was they wanted me to do more of the obscure ones. They didn't want to necessarily do the Gacy's and the Bundys and all that. I would kind of lump Gein in with that for sure, the big heavy hitters. So I'm not saying I'll never do it. It's just probably not. But we did do a really good Murder Metal Mayhem on Gein. If you want to listen to that, just search Murder Metal Mayhem Ed Gein and you'll find it.
So, you know what would be interesting to do again is about some of the books that they found in his house, because he was following. It was a female, and I want to say it was somewhere in Europe, and it was 100 years ago or something. But she was the one that was defleshing young girls and making dresses. That's where he got the idea.
Oh
And
wow!
yeah, and so I did a little bit of a dive into this lady, and she was worse than Bathory. Just absolutely.
Wow!
Everybody around her was there for her to do whatever she wanted to do. And so that might be a good tie-in. But if he likes Ed Gein, then we should do Picton.
Yeah, Picton would be a good one.
Yeah.
Picton would be a good one. I know me and Shane were talking about doing Picton.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
With the Canadian case, but
For sure.
Mark and Betty here, two bald heads, love it. Get another two baldies, and we can have the four skins. There you go. And what's funny? As long as Juan and I have known each other, we've been just like this, right, Juan?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
always been bald. I shave it at my head. Now that I could take a real shower, my shower is finally done. After 15 months, I mean, envision that 15 months. Now, you might say, well, how did anybody even live in the same house with me if I didn't shower for 15 months? Okay, let me clarify that. I was doing like the sponge bath thing in my bedroom without having to rinse it. It's like this stuff that they make you can use that you don't have to rinse, but it cleans you up. But it's not the same, obviously, far from it. And I never quite felt clean like I do when I take a shower. And I forgot what that truly felt like until the other day on Friday, I think it was. And I took my very first real shower in over a year. So it was awesome. But yeah, I like to shave my head every day. The just a little bit of fuzz just kind of drives me nuts. So that's just me. What about you, Juan? Every day?
About every other. I can't stand the little fuzz. I feel like I got dirt on my head constantly.
Right, right. Very cool. All right. We got anybody else with any questions or comments here? Um, Appreciate you guys coming to watch this with Juan and I, and we'll be doing more of these now next week. Next week we got a good one for you, and this is a nasty one. Charles Albright, the eyeball killer. This guy is wicked, from Dallas, Texas. I think like late 80s, early 90s. Didn't have a huge body count, but his telltale removal of the eyes done with surgical precision is what the cops were just baffled by. So we'll go over that next week. Charles Albright. I think you guys will enjoy that. And we have done a podcast on him. It's one of my favorites we ever did. For some reason, it just was a good, really good episode. So, all right. Well, my mom says this wasn't too bad to listen to, because I told her, I said, Mom, you're really going to be, subjected to some nasty stuff. And I told her, I said, I'm going to have Juan say the worst of it so that I don't have to do it. And so Juan obliged. Apparently, he didn't say anything, but I tricked him. No, I think we were able to get through it without being too terribly graphic. But it is what it is.
Oh, if they read it though, we barely scratched the surface of.
We did. But these are meant to just kind of toss around an idea and bring up a story that you may never heard of, and you may want to go ahead and dig into this further on your own. And
well, I mean, that's kind of my favorite reason for watching true crime stuff or listening to it is I want to hear something that I don't know, because I'm going to take a deep dive.
Right.
And I truly feel this is not the end of her story, because she's still around people. She's still a lunatic, right?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I just have a very bad feeling that she's going to be back in the news sometime.
I could totally see her shanking some girl in prison.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, big time. Wow, yeah, she's violent for sure. Yeah. But thank you, Juan, for coming on with me, and for being a good friend. And guys, we'll see you next time on Serial Killer Story Hour. You guys be good.